Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. We got a bit of a late start. This is the first time we're doing it from my iPad. They've actually added a mobile feature, and so we had a little hiccup. Joining us, as always, tonight is Eric, my co-host, Junior. Eric, as well, from Nag Industries, who's got a really cool toy in the background we'll talk about here in a second. And our guest tonight, some of you know him, some of you follow him. Welcome, Tactikull Tarzan.
What's up? Wait, this is a podcast?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, okay.
And
Sounds good.
8 people live watching us between Facebook and YouTube. So
Nice.
Thanks for coming on. Very, very short notice. I literally texted Tarzan like 15 minutes ago and was like, our guest can't come. You want to be on the podcast?
Thanks for making me choice number 2.
I'm always in.
He's
Always.
just early in. It was supposed to be another weekend.
Yeah, it was supposed to be. Tarzan's coming on regardless. He was supposed to come on in another weekend. He didn't know that yet, but he was supposed to come on a future episode. And Armando Basulto, who will be joining us on that night instead, had something come up and couldn't join us. So it's not like, oh, you're the second choice. Come on.
I've just accepted I'm always the second choice.
I'm good with anything, man. You know me.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us tonight. Again, short notice. Tell us a little bit about what you do as a 2A advocate, and also, if you're able to, what business you just entered into.
Oh, this is for me now. Okay.
Yes.
So, long story short, I got my concealed carry permit like 4 years ago. I really hadn't gotten to firearms much before that. My dad was a Marine. I shot growing up, but it wasn't like a hobby until, I grew up and had to be responsible for myself and sometimes others. And so I got my concealed carry permit. And then I went down the rabbit hole. Like, what gun should I buy? And it was like YouTube, hours of YouTube, 2.0 speeds, watching Hickok videos. And so I got really into it. And I learned a lot of things. And I probably researched more than I should have. That's kind of what I always tell people. It became an obsession really quick. And then I wanted to take everything that I'd learned and like chop it up into little notes to make it way easier for people to consume. Because one thing I got frustrated with seeing online was really good information just being
Dragged out too much.
Yeah, and then like
one go.
And then they skip over the important part. So like, whoa, hang on a sec. Why did you just like, oh yeah, head spacing is this anyway? I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah,
I need to know. Like, that's the part that blows up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, so I'm like, okay, I think I could probably do this. So I just wanted to create like and the other problem was like, it's all, like, if you think the political climate between right and left is toxic, it's like, go to a gun forum sometime. And it's like, these are all people who agree and who are going to fight to the death over like, the size of a roll pin or whatever. So I'm like, I think I can make this like less. I just wanted to make it more approachable. It's like, I'm a woman and I'd like to buy my first gun. Like, what? You don't know what Walther is? Get out of my shop.
Yeah, and not to interrupt, but I do that a lot. I can attest to that. Having worked in a shop before Eric hired me in, we ran into that all the time, where women would come in and they were used to the other shops in town just being like, "What you need, little lady?" instead of treating them like an actual customer. And that's
Right.
where we varied is. I'd have some idiot come up and be like, I need to get my little lady gun. I'm like, that's great. Go sit your ass over in the lounge and I'm going to talk to her.
Yeah. We get a lot of it in the aftermarket is folks will be like, I bought this gun for my wife. Whoop, hang on. You bought yourself a gun. It's cool.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that, but let's establish your gun. Now we'll fix your gun. Maybe she'll like it. If not, we can tell you what we suggest you get her. Bring her over here.
That's funny, actually, just talking on that note, because me and Joe were in the shop Wednesday, and this lady walks in and says, "Hey, I'm here to do an ammo transfer because you got to do those in California now."
Oh,
And
geez.
she
Just
started
saying that gave me a little retch.
she comes to me and she's like, "Well, I just bought this gun. What kind of holster do I want?" And I said, "Let me stop you right there. Holsters. You buy one, you're going to buy 20 more, and you're still not going to be right. It's a evolving thing that you have to go through." And then we started talking about pistols, and she's like, "Well, I really want the new XD Hellcat or whatever." And I said, "Well, you can't get those in California, unfortunately, unless you're law enforcement." And we're just sitting down and talking, and she just says to me, "Well, why are you so much nicer than the other store?" I said, "Well, I wish my mom was here because she's part owner." I said, "You could have."
I raised him right.
But it's just one of those things. I don't know why shops do it. Why they're so just assholes.
Yeah, and you're missing out on a customer base.
Yeah.
They're becoming the large. They went from 2 to 3% when I was in the store, which has been almost 7 years now, to now they make up 38% or more of the buying power in our industries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Which is
we
awesome.
did this.
If you think about it, like women should be the ones who are arming themselves more than anybody, because that's what equalizes us.
Exactly. It's the great equalizer. Physically, those of you, it's hard to tell from just a face shot of Tarzan, but he is a gigantic dude. Okay, he's a big guy. So, but and I use him as an example because if someone that's his size, well, over 6 feet, obviously works out, big muscly dude, 250 pounds, and you're a 110-pound woman, you're not
217. Yeah.
But you get my.
I got 2 pounds on you.
You get my point. That the 110-pound woman's not going to be able to fight a man of that size off.
Not effectively.
No. And there's going to be, I think Tarzan went too far from his router.
So we had a conversation a while back. We had our IT guy.
Sorry, I had to get in the car.
Go through he went through the orders we'd had over the last 6 months, and it accounted for like 32% of our sales were female names.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a huge demographic, and as an industry, we need to be addressing it and making sure that we're helping them get the correct equipment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I personally, when you did that video with, I forget who it was, and you were basically calling out all the gun bunnies about, oh, yeah, you got to push your boobs forward, and you got to do this, and you got to do that. And I'm like, he's nailing it, man, because that's exactly, they're pushing the sex hard. Yeah, it's nice to look at good-looking women who like to shoot guns, but if they're not properly trained, you're not doing them any good.
It hurts the industry overall.
It hurts the industry overall than anything else.
It's not selling beer like the beer commercials with the hot girls out dancing around.
I will say, if it gets you involved, you know what I mean? If it's a hook and it gets people moving, great.
That part of it is great. Where I like you over the others is that you did that as satire, but you actually trained that girl. Like, you got her trained. You walk the line between showing, kind of like, how would I equate it? I mean, it's very satirical in that you're showing everybody, hey, this is what our industry is doing, and it's ridiculous.
I just want to point something out real quick. We need to go to a rave right now. Tactikull Tarzan.
I think people understand now. It's like, well, there's a fine balance, right? Because, like I was saying before, some people who don't walk into a gun shop or into a forum or whatever with the most advanced knowledge right off the bat sometimes get lambasted as like, you don't know what you're talking about. And people feel like they need to have a certain level of conscious understanding before they can participate. And that's like bad. We want to push that back and say, like, it doesn't matter what your level is, you can get involved.
Oh, yeah.
On the other end, if you're going to represent products, if you're going to represent the community, then yeah, you should have a base level of understanding besides just being like, have a marketing draw of like being cute or whatever. So it's a fine balance.
I think Brandon does both, and I don't know why he's not in front of more covers.
It's mainly they don't have a wide angle
Hey, if
lens.
it works,
It's
I ain't gonna
mainly
hate.
that.
if you can get a couple 100,000 people looking at guns and boobs, whatever.
That's right. Exactly. And that's why, but like I said, that's why I like the line you want, because you point out the parts that need to be changed and show it through humor and comedy, which is one of the last things we have left in this damn country and in this world, because people take everything just entirely too seriously. And you
By the way,
can't.
check out my guy over here. My guy over here on the bike with a purse. I want
Nice.
this tactical purse.
Hey.
I want this tactical
It's a
purse.
satchel.
now.
It's a satchel.
Indiana Jones.
I'm a little bit jealous of the tactical purse. All right, sorry. About
That is
Anyway,
pretty pimp, though. Yeah, is it Louis Vuitton at least?
I don't know if it's not. It should be. 'Cause that's,
I think we
that is
can make.
badass.
It's that MC Hammer.
Just see it flapping in the
Wise to
wind
me.
while
It's
he's
like,
going.
"Are you looking at me?" Sorry, I don't want to get in a gunfight on the podcast. That'd be bad.
Yeah, that would be. Well, it could be a good training tool, though, too.
It's
And,
like stopping
yeah.
at a 7-Eleven.
Fire
It's a
From the car
essential training
while
chance.
driving on a podcast.
Right? Exactly. Just this is how you do this. Remember, kids, if you're inside and the windows are up, open your mouth so you don't burst your eardrums.
Hey, I wanted to point something out since Rick over here is talking about PC.
Solid.
Why don't we all have our mask on?
Oh, yeah.
During our
that's
podcast?
right. I
can't-
forgot.
But
I
hang
can't-
on, I gotta have the nose sticking out while I'm talking to you.
I'm exempt. I have a cigar.
Yes, that's right. He has a medical condition
Mm-hmm.
where he has to smoke cigars, or he
It's-
may die.
I could possibly. Yeah.
Yeah,
or
another
something.
thing I've noticed, like, there's also like a lot of brand elitism, right? And that's what I like about you guys. That's where we kind of resonated at SHOT Show, was like, hey, you can have a budget gun and it works.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
You don't need to start out with a Glock 19.
No.
That's why
Most
it's,
people-
almost every day I carry my Taurus G2C. Shout out to my Galloway Precision holster. But it's willing to do more than other guns for less money.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
It
thumbs
forms
up
really
to
well.
that. It's more that philosophy that I like than the hey, there it is.
Yep, that's
Oh.
the G3C. Now,
I know,
I
I'm-
did put one of their night sights on it. It is an actual Taurus night sight. We had an extra one in the shop because what's the first thing I complain about? It's I can't see a white dot anymore. But you raise a good point with that, because you don't have to go break the bank. This is my normal carry gun.
Yeah.
You know, this is, which is now murdered out and super sexy, I might add. But it functions just as well as my Springfield does. You know, there's no reason, and simple things, you know, people made fun of us when we started making the high point parts. And honestly, no BS, it did start kind of as a joke.
It wasn't. It was an early April Fool's joke that we didn't think would work.
But it works really well, and people buy it. And I equate it to this: imagine when you're a teenager and you go buy your first just junk car. What's the first thing you do? You go out and buy stuff to make it yours.
Yeah.
You buy Walmart spinners. I see you laughing.
No, I got a quick side note on that.
The spinners?
By 16 years old, I convinced both of my parents with my college fund that had, like, at the time, like $3,500 in it from people throwing in money when I was a kid. I said, I'm going to join the military, so you might as well give that to me to go buy a vehicle. And I got myself a 92 Cherokee with the 6.5-inch lift.
See, exactly. And then
Definitely
you went out
my
and bought
child.
parts. Yeah. And then,
Proud of you.
I couldn't
So-
hear the Erics there for a second. Sorry, I thought I was ignoring you guys if you said anything, but
no. He
I can now
Hey,
hear
what-
both of the Erics.
he went out and bought a cheap car.
Nice.
Oh, good Lord.
Well, like John was saying, I think one of the things you got to address is that everybody, you don't need the top of the line stuff. It's not necessary for a lot of people. So that's one reason when I started this is I wanted to offer performance for the stuff that anybody else made performance for, right? and it serves the industry well. I'm not brand loyal. I want to make the parts that customers want to buy. And like John was saying, you meet people like at SHOT Show and you run into the loyalists like the Ford and the Chevy guys. It's the same thing in our industry. And I look at it as a chance. So let's collaborate. Let's do something different and reach even more customers and make them more efficient at using their firearm,
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
And that's another thing too. People like complain about, why does this gun have colors? Why is that purple or pink? And it's funny because despite how much of a stereotype you think that is, a lot of girls do say, does it come in like different colors? And I think that's awesome because if you can have some type of personal attachment to that firearm, like the better it is for you because you're going to carry it, you're going to use it, you're going to train with it. It becomes an extension of you as it should, and it almost encourages proficiency instead of you just saying, "Oh, that's stupid. I don't like the colors." Like, why not?
Exactly. Well,
Go for it.
we've got a customer sending in 2 SDVE slides to do, that inlay we did on the SAR 9 for Tommy Morgan. We're going to do that on his. And one of them's going to be gold and lime green. I think I'll do the whole slide gold and the inlays lime green. And then the other one is going to be ruby red and that new blue raspberry that just came out. So I'm going to do the whole slide red and the inlays ruby raspberry. Because the dude just straight up was like, I want something insane. Just crazy. Nobody else will have, just me. And I'm like, well, yeah, I just ordered in some new colors because I've figured out how to Cerakote our 3D printed parts and make it work correctly and stick and not chip. And so that's a new thing, by the way, everyone listening or watching live right now and listening later on. We can Cerakote them for the $15 upcharge that we do for the triggers. And so we've been testing out some of the new colors, which are insane. And now Tarzan's going to be like, great, when's my shit coming?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about, why don't I have a SAR 9 yet? I've been trying to get their number. Like, I need it.
That's a sore point. There's a lot of people wanting SAR 9 parts, and including us, just to replace parts that we need for customers.
They're still having some growing pains with a lot of what's going on right now, and it's not entirely their fault by any means.
Just supply lines or what?
Yeah, well, someone screwed up the Form 6s, and so the wrong parts came in, and you got to go when you're dealing with Form 6s with the ATF. You have to import enough to last for 2 to 3 years, and so with as crazy fast as they've grown, and people have wanted their product because it works really well and it's an affordable price. They can't get them into the country fast enough. And then on top of that, you got the ATF going back and like changing their minds on certain things. And sorry, USA, nobody take this wrong. Like, they're not the only company.
ATF changed their mind?
Yeah, I know, right. They're not the only company suffering from this. A lot of foreign companies, we're seeing this a lot right now. Mostly Turkish companies, Gerson, Canik, a lot of other companies are having troubles. But we're seeing it across Europe, period, because the ATF's in this mood right now where they're just deciding to change things at the drop of a hat. And you've got to do this now. You've got to do that. It's like the whole secret pistol brace ban that blew up on the internet. And everybody's like, that's fake. That's this. Well, if you actually look into it and you got the right connections, there's nothing fake about it. They were getting ready to make a ruling on a specific company's pistol brace and make 700,000 people felons overnight.
So crazy.
So, don't ever think if we're talking about supply lines or anything like that, we're talking bad about a company. They're not the only ones that have an issue. It is across the entire industry right now because you are seeing the last 2 to 3 presidencies of infiltration of very severe leftists into political positions and bureaucracies where they just do what they want. And it doesn't matter who's in office right now. I hate to go off on the political tangent for a second, but with the ATF, you got to understand something. They're bureaucrats. They have no real power to make laws or any of that. So, but
They love
whatever,
to make regulations. We can regulate. You can create all the regulations you want. It means nothing.
Case
And
in
they like to
point.
tout it as, oh, you'll be a felon if you do this. It's a regulation. That's not. It's not how it
Eric,
works.
do you see what Jimmy said? This is Eric. This is.
You'd have to come
this is
by
Big
and say
Eric's.
hello. You've got to
I
come
Welcome
know,
to the
right?
Thunderdome.
That'd be great.
Trust me, if you met him, you'd be like, I'm not going to prison with him.
Exactly, Joe Jorgensen, right here. All right, and then we're gonna stop at the politics after this. I promise. But Rick raises a good point. There's only one candidate out there right now that wants to defund the ATF. But they don't just want to defund the ATF. They want to get rid of all the bureaucracies. Quit voting for the lesser of two evils, and we'll get out of the mess we're in, people. But
except you, Eric, you Junior, you being in California,
yeah, we can't help you.
We're just gonna give California to China to pay off our debt. Sorry, but come over real
Once
quick.
we repeal the NFA and we've all got machine guns, we'll come liberate California.
That's it. See, John's got the right idea.
That's
You've thought about this. You have thought about this before, haven't you?
Well, we'll see.
But
I cannot confirm or deny.
On a little politics,
Make counter accusations.
Google New California. You remember a couple of years ago when they were trying to separate it into like 3 states? I don't understand all the stuff behind it, but apparently it made it through Congress. Instead of being 3 states, it is going to be 2 states.
North and south.
No, actually, it's going to be east and west.
That makes more sense, honestly, because the problem you guys have is the majority of the people that run everything live on the coast. They don't live in the farmland. They don't live in the industrial areas. They don't live where the 90% of Californians live, out in the country. Yep. Because it's a state the size of effing Iraq. I mean, come on, guys. It's a massive state. So you can't rule one state. And we run into that here in North Carolina. Between Buncombe County and Raleigh, those are the state's been blue more than it's ever been red. And those two, the county in Raleigh, Charlotte, Mecklenburg County, Raleigh-Durham, and Buncombe County basically run the state. Yeah, unfortunately. But that's neither here nor there.
Enough politics. Let's stir the pot. Talk about calibers.
All right.
You're all welcome.
Well, before we get into the caliber, we'll start with something else. Synthetic ammo, which will play directly into our caliber talk. So I bring this up because recently everybody knows it's been dry. So I managed to find on AIM Surplus some of the new federal Syntech. And I gotta say, this stuff actually impresses me a lot. Federal normal bulk ammo, both Junior, Eric, and I'm sure John will attest to, the cheap stuff is stuff you use during training to purposely induce malfunctions. Winchester white box. I mean, he laughs. Everybody laughs. I mean,
I like the Winchester steel forge. That's the best for the failure.
Exactly.
That's my favorite. Sandpaper ammo.
There you go.
This new federal. Hold on. Let me turn on the big light.
We first got a chance to play with some stuff like this. It was the same technology back about 6 years ago. A customer of ours, he's out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. He sent us a bunch of that stuff to try, and it shot really well. But the biggest problem I had was it was ultra light. I don't know if you guys have ever really played around with it, but it's just a light caliber, so it's real zippy. That was my only concern, was just over penetration or lack of penetration in some of them.
Yeah, I haven't played with the Syntech. Like I shot ammo that's has a synthetic coating or whatever on the projectile, but is this Syntech like non-lead?
Apparently so. When you go on Federal's website, it's a bialloy or something like that. It tells you on the website what it is, and then they powder coat it in the special powder coat. And the whole idea is you don't get copper fouling, lead fouling. And I know Junior carries what he calls the purple people eaters.
Hang on.
Which is
You better explain that one, boy.
You'll see.
Yeah.
He's going to go grab them.
When he comes back
But-
naked, this is your fault.
Not necessarily. I mean, he could be in his suit or body paint. We'll have to find out.
If he's painted purple, man, I'm leaving.
So I found this stuff not too long ago. I don't know if you can see it. It's called Novex. I think it was originally developed by Ruger, the projectile, and the case is a company called Shockwave. And so it's like a copper hybrid or a copper ceramic alloy.
Yep.
So some of it's copper, some of it's ceramic, and it's really light. It's like when you're holding it, it feels like dummy rounds, like this isn't real ammo, but it's super real and it's crazy. It does
It's
like
crazy
1,800
fast,
feet per
isn't it?
second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my only concern with some of that stuff is the penetration. Is it going to over penetrate? Is it going to under penetrate? Because it's like, the crazy velocities they generate with the low mass. That's been my only real question with it.
Well, here's one you want to check out then. So there's a company here in my state of Utah called SimX, and they've made a projectile that is basically a copper cup filled with non-Newtonian fluid. So you can actually control the density of the fluid and literally control how far it will penetrate into a gel block. So like they can pick a row of ammo and say this will only go 8 inches, and it only goes 8 inches.
Wow.
With very minimal variation. It's super cool. Anyway, but that's one variety of ammo. Yeah, you got to go check it out. SimX. I tag them a lot because I've gone up there and toured their facility and seen their stuff.
What is their website? And we'll get it across at the bottom of the screen.
I don't know, but I think if you Google SimX ammo, you'll probably find it. Just SIM and the letter X.
What did you bring in here, Junior? What was that?
Oh, I couldn't find my purple people eaters, but since I do police stuff, I grab my baton.
Because that totally goes with caliber talk.
Hey, what do you do when you run out of ammo? You got to beat them, right?
He's gone all the way across the pond to jolly old England for us.
That's right. His purple people eater is a purple beaten stick, apparently.
We're gonna start
Better
calling
than
you
purple
Bobby
dildo,
for a while.
I guess.
Well, he is in California, so
That's true. Could be lead weighted.
nice.
Well, the purple people eaters are basically the same thing, but 147 grain ammo. Obnoxious asked a minute ago, is it frangible? And I'm pretty sure it is. I had to cut open my damn wall to get a broken outside faucet, which is fantastic. So I've got some drywall that was ruined. I'm going to try some of it. I'm going to shoot some 2x4s and stuff. Because when it hits the target on my steel targets, this stuff just disintegrates. I mean, it's just poof, gone. So I imagine it's frangible, but like I said, it doesn't really say on the website, and it doesn't really tell you on Federal's website exactly what it's made of. So it may actually be just a lead alloy covered in powder coat. Who's to say? But we'll find out. Because if it's not raining nonstop like it has been the past couple days, I'll shoot some bullets and stuff because it's fun to tear things up.
It would be worthwhile to shoot a couple mags, I think, of regular ammo through the gun, take you a picture of the barrel, and then run some of that through it, just see what the rifling looks like, see if it cleans it out.
Yeah.
Because that blue, those blue ones that we got in from Newcomer down east, they did that. When we shot them, they literally would clean the barrel out.
Lord, Jimmy, are you trying to really? Carbon fiber tip filled with mercury.
That's much to say. I like that. We'll try it.
$20 a round.
That's right.
$20 a round.
Still my
no
grip
kidding.
ammo, the last round you'll ever need.
That's
or
right.
ever shoot because
Or
it
ever
costs
shoot.
you $7,000 to shoot a mag.
Hey, we can print in carbon fiber. We'll have to print some carbon fiber bullets. And stick
Oh,
them
you
in
know
there.
what? We could honestly do that because we can do
Worth a
100%
shot.
fills.
When it
I
disintegrates
wonder-
as it accelerates so fast, it just vaporizes. Be like shooting a blank.
I mean, I'm wondering what it would do because, I mean, think about it. Those cowboy action shooters take earplugs and shoot earplugs. That's how these guys that do the
true.
shows and stuff shoot balloons and such without hurting anybody. And they can shoot an earplug 20 feet without it coming apart, disforming, any of that. So I wonder if we could honestly work up a load in a small caliber to start with and see if we could do it without destroying it or just having plastic come out the end. Could send it over to Tandem Floss. They'd love that, or however you pronounce it, that YouTube channel that they just blow stuff up.
You know what we ought to do? We ought to machine a core and then a backstop for the bullet out of aluminum. Then we print a carbon fiber shell to go over top of it.
Like
That
a
way-
carbon fiber jacket. So then you'd have,
Yeah.
oh man. that'd
So
be
you could,
insane.
it would get
Yeah,
out.
that's a cool idea.
Could
We
we
ought to try
do
that.
carbon fiber buckshot round?
Oh, easily.
Worth
I
trying.
wonder if that would be less
Beanbag
lethal.
rounds.
Nice.
Because they couldn't be, if we made them, if we didn't do 100% fill. Like, see, now he's got me going. I'm sitting here thinking, well, if we didn't do 100% fill, say we did
That's what I'm saying.
60,
If we
maybe-
if we had a base for the powder to burn against and push, and then we had the shell of the bullet and with like a guide in the center to adhere it to, I guarantee you
Well,
I could. I think I could do it. I
I
can
bet
print it
with
out.
buckshot, though, with buckshot, we wouldn't have to worry because it's already got a cup.
Can
I'm
I be
just
the
thinking
guy
of
in
how
the
we can
background?
make the density. How would we measure drainage?
I'm going to be the guy in the background of the commercial right now. What you've heard here today is patent pending, and all these information. No, you can't take any of this information right now.
That's right. Trade secrets.
If you experience any
Everyone
lightheadedness or blah blah blah, and then they always slip in at the end of the commercial or anal bleeding. Like what kind of
I
medicine?
know, right?
What
Like,
kind
it's
of medicine
always
that makes you
anal
better?
bleeding or anal leakage. Why would you want either of those things?
You have diabetes, but now you've got that. Like what? I don't understand.
All right. So, yeah. So, along with the synthetic ammo, I have to throw this in there. CZ Master Race for the win, which brings us to. All right. Caliber talk. So, I think most of the people in here carry 9s, if not exclusively all 4 of us carry 9s.
Most days.
I have
I'm
a-
carrying 10 right now, but that's just because they don't make an 11.
Hey, the Russians have
right.
13 and 14, so
That's true. Yeah, and the
Jeez.
12.7.
I'd get some of that.
But this
like
this is an
84
argument.
caliber.
I know, right? This is a recoilless rocket, I promise. That looks like an AT-4, sir. No. Mm-mm. This is an 84 caliber weapon, thank you.
Hey, talk about the AT-4 trainer shot a 9mm projectile.
This is true. And actually, if you can find ones that have been decommissioned, you can buy them because they're serialized. Now, they're about impossible to find. I found this out because when I got out, I brought home 2 inert AT-4 tubes and ended up selling them for mucho bucks on eBay back then. Now I wish I still had them because they'd be perfect to like hang up behind me for this kind of stuff. But
And you could tell everybody they identify as 380s.
that's
Yes.
right.
And at this point tomorrow morning, Brandon was no longer with us because the U.S. government took him.
I know, right? I'm going to be getting a knock on the door. Like, hello, Mr. Langston Russo. Like, oh, shit, they used my full name. that's never good.
That's nothing. That's nothing compared to half the stuff on your meme page.
Oh, yeah. For those of you who don't follow my personal page, there's some, I'm on government lists. I know I am. But, I mean, most of us veterans are. Let's be honest. I mean, these guys. Thank you, Smoking Trucker. Which, Brian, thanks for joining us tonight. The guy I've got up on his comment right now is a customer of ours who became a customer about a year or two ago. I might be embarrassing him, but I'm going to do it anyway. He is an older gentleman who retired from his first career as a truck driver after 30 some years and got into the firearms industry real heavy. He's actually doing his own custom firearms stuff. He's doing his own YouTube channel. If you look up Smoking Trucker, you will find him. And he helps a lot of people in the older categories find weapons and tune them to themselves. So I'm actually glad he joined us tonight. Thanks for joining us, Brian. Those of you who are first-time listeners or first-time watchers, definitely go check out his channel. He, like I said, he's a gentleman who caters to the older crowd specifically, and that's a great thing. He falls in line with where Tarzan does. Tarzan takes care of the younger people. We need people who are new to the industry too on the older end, because the reality of it is a lot of older people are targets. You get to a certain age where you become a target. And I'm glad that he takes the time to, and he's a very loyal customer. It's not just me like, oh, he buys a bunch of stuff. No, he asks me questions because he wants to be able to inform other people. And so if we have a new product come out that he's curious about and he has a pistol for and he wants to get into, he'll ask me all sorts of questions. And I appreciate that very much, rather than some of the customers we have will buy something for the wrong thing and then it's our fault. So
how dare you tell me this thing I just bought?
Yeah, pretty much.
You also have to remember too, because we've worked with him, he's actually, he asks the questions, and then if there's something that he would like to see or think that we could use to offer it to the older folks, his feedback helps us develop the product better.
Exactly.
It's not saying that all customers don't do that, but it's when you have someone that and you've kind of gotten a groove with, and when he tells Brandon, hey, this and this and this, it's nice because when Brandon brings it back to me, I can make those changes if possible to the product to improve it, and that makes it more usable for older folks as well as new shooters and everyone else along the lines. So thank you again.
And that's straight from Eric, by the way, Brian. So not Junior. He don't count for nothing. I love you.
If you had brought your purple people eaters, you'd get some credibility.
I know. You'd get some credibility right now.
Man, those things are awesome. It's funny. I got them from Sheriff's Department because we're doing a demo up there. And I was like, what are these? And he's like, oh, they're just purple. They're frangible, so you can shoot up, to whatever, a foot off of the steel. And he shows it, and he kind of just shows them to me. I look at him, I was like, those are purple people eaters, aren't they? And he just looks at me and shakes his head and walks.
Those are purple people eaters, aren't they? But yeah, so let's get into the discussion. People in the comments are going to love it.
So real quick, I just want to point out, every time that Tactikull Tarzan pauses, he has just this thing. Like the last one was like an awesome smile while he's paused. Look at this one; it's just smolder all right there.
I
know, I'm jealous, man.
I'd probably just have eyes on the road, is all.
I mean,
I wear my sunglasses at night.
You guys still have the sun up, or it's going down over here.
It's like black outside, storming. It's crazy outside.
Well, for me,
I don't feel like the sun goes down until like 10 o'clock here.
And now here's the thing. Let me show you guys something. Now, keep in mind, I drive to work every day. Eric lives in Fletcher. That's where the shop's at. It's a 25-mile drive. Just 25 miles. Not a real far drive. This is the weather at my house right now.
Huh.
Clear, blue, about 73 after the nice rain shower that cooled everything off. You know what it's doing at his house right now? Probably sounds like the end of the world outside.
It's monsooning and lightning.
And that's the crazy crap about the weather around here, because we're in the mountains, dude. You can drive. Like, I left work and I couldn't drive over 30 miles an hour once I hit 74 because you couldn't see. As soon as I get on 240, clear skies all the way home.
If you don't like the weather around here, wait 5 minutes.
It'll change.
Yeah. This time of year, it's really bad.
So there you go. See, there. If
Nice.
you are in his age group, guys, go check out Smoking Trucker. He answers questions. If he's got, I know he talks to me. I'm sure he talks to others. So definitely check him out. So 9, 40, 45, 357 SIG, 44, all of these. Most of us carry 9. We've already covered that. But here's the thing. We've been talking about the synthetic ammo. Now you've got things like RIP, which Eric and I have seen in different variations throughout the years.
Yeah. Some really good ones.
Yeah, it's more of a gimmick than anything else. And then you have companies like Lehigh. Now, that video that Mac did years ago with the 42 and the 380, and you got 16 inches of penetration, 14 inches of penetration, that's pretty impressive stuff. So, personally, for me, this is my humble opinion. Take it and bullshit or throw it away. I don't care. With the technology that it is today, it's not like it was even just 10 years ago where you wanted the bigger the caliber, the bigger the hole, because you're trying to make the guy leak out and die. But with modern technology and modern bullets, it's really hard to make the argument that you need a 50 GI or a 50 AE or a 45 or a 40. It's more of a personal preference thing.
Do you think that had something to do with population back then too?
And, that's a very good point, because think about it. Most police carried 38s. And we all know that unless you're up close and personal, even out of a Model 10 4-inch barrel, 38 just doesn't have a whole lot of ass behind it when it's hitting its target. It doesn't have a lot of pressure. It's not a high-pressure round. It's not very fast when it's coming out of the muzzle. Even up to, say, an 8-inch barrel, you're only going to get probably around 850 feet per second at the most out of that length of the barrel hitting target. Whereas the 357 mag was a huge jump in technology, a huge jump in pressure, being able to handle and things like that. And it did a lot more damage. I mean, we can all agree to that. When it came out in the 70s, like, yeah, the 44 mag and the 357 mag that was it. That was, if you were a cop or you were going to carry and you couldn't get a 45, you were going to carry those.
I think the big thing you have to think about, though, honestly, is up until the 80s, mass-produced semi-autos that were, A, reliable, and B, had the ability to feed hollow points, was very limited. You had the 1911 and pretty much the Browning high power. That was it. But your revolvers, they would chug along with hollow points without any issues. So, I think that's a big factor in it, too, is our technology's jumped up to where we can handle it.
Right. Yeah, and I carry all of those. I carry 357. I carry 44 Magnum sometimes. I carry 9 and 10, and that's it.
And see, that's it. There's nothing wrong with carrying a variety either. I have new to me, Taurus 24/7 OSS, which made Tarzan get angry at me because I had it and he didn't know about it. So
I didn't know it existed.
It's a pretty sweet pistol, and
shake it and it goes bang.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I'm not gonna lie. When I'm working with Dale on that one, I'm doing a bunch of work on his guns for it. He decided that's what he wanted to pay me. I said, that's cool. So let me take it home and try it first, because I'm thinking in my head exactly that. Shake it and it's gonna go off. And that has nothing to do with American Tauruses. For anyone watching or listening, that was a Brazilian Taurus thing. The ones that were coming into the country didn't have that problem. And now you're never going to see that problem out of the semi-automatics, because all semi-automatics are made here in America at their Bainbridge, Georgia plant.
They also changed the fire control group, which was definitely needed. We have a 24/7 9mm in the armory here, and it's one of the ones you can take, cycle the slide, and shake it, and the thing will go bang. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a
So
legitimate
That's
thing.
crazy.
Some of them really did that, and we've got one here that people are like, "That's not true," and it's like, I got no reason to lie to you. Watch this, you know.
yeah. And
That's cool. I want one.
and I know, right? It'll go. But and Taurus did the right thing as a company, and they jumped on it immediately, and they took care of the problem. They redesigned the product, and
They did. They fixed it right away once it became aware of it. Yeah.
So
Yeah, but all this stuff being made in the U.S. is super reliable.
exactly. Dude, the G3. Look, we are a niche company. All right. What we do is very niche. It's always been niche. Before I even got there, it was niche. We've always done niche guns. We try to concentrate. We do high end stuff too. Don't get me wrong, but we try to concentrate on guns that the everyman's going to go out and buy. Not everybody's got $1,000 to drop on a 229 Emperor Scorpion. Not everybody's got $1,000 to go out and drop on, a CZ Omega SP01. They don't, sometimes when you're starting out, or if you have a family you're responsible for, you've got other things, you can't run out and buy the most expensive, best thing right off the bat. Right now, a Gen 5 Glock goes for, well, in the craze, I'd imagine between 600, 700 in some of these shops that are gouging people.
Gun Broker, they've been selling for $1,000, bro.
It's insane, man. And
Jeez.
what
For a
never
Glock.
ceases to amaze me is people, just like in the 2014 craze, and this is, guys, everyone watching and listening, I'm going to interject some shameless self-promotion real quick. Hit that subscribe button, like, comment, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube. We do this every 2 weeks. Go follow Tactikull Tarzan. I had to work that in there because we're getting close to time. But the biggest thing is I lost my train of thought because my reminder popped up.
We're talking
Go
about
take your pills,
calibers.
Grandpa.
I know, right, dude? There's so much shit going through my head anymore. And speaking of, he's right. By the way, everyone who doesn't know, who's listening, watching, as of yesterday, my 24-year-old gave birth on her birthday to Adeline and Sophia Richards, who are both healthy and happy babies. They're twins. They were born about a month and a half early, and twin girls, obviously, because I did something horrible in the past life or earlier in my younger life, and that's all I'll have is daughters, so that I am
You're always beating me when I was a kid.
That's what it is.
Yep.
This is what you get, boy.
Congrats, buddy.
Thank you. Yes, the new
So
G3
you're grandpa now, man. It's cool.
Yes, and I don't turn 40 until August 16th, so I am a true Southern man at this point. You can't, I take the title. Eric has no hold now. I take it because I'm a grandpa before I'm 40. But my stepdaughter is 24, guys. My wife is 4 years older than me. She robs the cradle. She's probably listening like, oh, you're in so much trouble.
She's upstairs from you right now.
This is true. So if she's
just
listening, I'm
She's
bummed.
waiting off camera.
Thank you, everyone who congratulated me. Thank you. And yes, there you go, Brian. You missed that earlier, Smoking Trucker. We've already got the new G3Cs in, and we're starting on parts. Thank you, Mateo. So after he called me Grandpa, you guys distracted me again. This is what it's like to work with me, by the way. Squirrel! And the fact that I've been having my orange. Hey, Joe! Look who joined us!
Joe, get in there, Joe. Oh, they can see me.
Oh, wait, they can see me. Yes.
Yes.
This is
Hi. Trying to be out of the camera.
this is Eric's Joe. Joe works for Eric out at NAG. He is his lead gunsmith and hates being on camera. So we're gonna give him shit.
Come on, Joe. Show us that sexy beard, Joe.
That's
Come
right.
on.
So where are you going? Don't leave.
Man.
Things are just getting fun.
So back to calibers and stuff like that. We were talking about the things that like in the last 10 years, the ammo explosion. I think everybody's taking advantage of that. Now we have all these reliable semi-autos that feed hollow points, and you're seeing the technology developed past what it was from the early days, say 50s and 40s, when hollow points started kind of showing up in the market for revolvers. And then you had the 45 semi-auto and the 1911 platform that shot this big fat bullet, the size of my thumb. But it was reliable, and it was already the size of, say, a 38 Special that was coming out and expanding a little bit out of that slow velocity and the poor bullet design. So I think that's what we're getting now, is we're getting technologies catching up to the platforms that can use it. I think that's why we're seeing it. Yeah, I mean, you've got all kinds of think about like the Spear Gold Dot that came out in '95. You had the HST, what were they called? Black Talons? I think Federal called them Black Talons in the early '90s.
The Black Talons were cop killers.
All that stuff. You saw that technology start developing in the early '90s.
Well, a 40 millimeter is not fair. We can't have those.
You definitely can't have it in California. Shame on you.
That's all right. I've got. Anyhow, moving along. So, but what I showed,
something.
Yeah, that's right. Where'd you get that gun? I keistered it. So, case in point, while we're sitting here and talking about it, this is a Federal Hydroshock. This was Federal was one of those ones that jumped on the bandwagon. I don't know. I want to say they came out with the Hydroshock and what? Because these boxes are the old blue silver boxes.
They redesigned the Black Talon into that round in the late '90s.
Yeah, and that's the Winchester Ranger now for anyone listening or watching. See, that's right. That's right.
Just where's it at? There it is. Gold Dot for the win.
Yeah, and my normal carry is Gold Dot in my 9mm because I like the Lehigh stuff. I would love to buy it, but dude, it's expensive. Now I reload, but it's really hard for me to reload and carry because I know that reloads are not as reliable as stock ammo because of the fact that working in the industry, I know those machines are much more sensitive, and the primers that CCI, Winchester, and others provide are much softer to professional, like Federal, CCI, Winchester, all the professional manufacturers, than what you're buying as a reloader. Because you got to take into account that you're using a machine that's not calibrated, honestly. I mean, it's got a little chute and you go boop and hope for the best. And like a Dillons are calibrated, but let's say we're talking about a normal progressive loader that you're hand operating. You got to figure the amount of force when you push down on, say, a rock chucker or a Hornady or any of those. You're putting enough force to seat a bullet. You've got to be putting 50 to 60 psi on that easily. Well, a primer can't take that. Plain and simple. It just cannot. And so the primers that we get on the civilian market are very much different from what the manufacturer gets. And I have to explain this all the time to people, and they never believe me. So it's almost a moot point to bring that up. But that's why I don't carry reloads. And I advise against carrying reloads because you can never tell how well that primer is going to act in a reload. Whereas I know that if I'm buying Spear Gold Dot for $30 for 20 rounds, it's going to go bang every time I pull the trigger.
So I got a quick question for you, just to get input somebody who else is in the industry but not on the manufacturing side. John, like when you go for carry ammo, what do you usually do for testing? Do you run a couple boxes through like 100 rounds, or what do you recommend to your folks that you interact with?
So I'll buy, I think 50 is a good test. I think you test your gun, like 250 rounds is a minimum. 500 is like, okay, I know this gun's gonna run. Not defense ammo, just your standard ammo. And then I'll test you. Oh, like a one box of hollow points, I think will give you a good idea of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's typically where I've gone. I buy a Federal HSTs. That's kind of my go-to. I have a couple hundred of those, and they're easy to stockpile because they're like 60 cents a round or something, versus like over $1 a round.
Yeah.
Until the apocalypse happened, then I started stockpiling buffalo bore 10 mil.
Mm.
This stuff is crazy. So, yeah, I think if you can cycle a whole box and it does what you need it to, and you can manage the recoil and you can hit the target, and you don't need to go and like shoot, a pork loin to know what's going to happen. Just go look up the ballistics tests. It's like,
Yeah.
you know that it's functional. I do anyway, just because I like to see what happens. I think it's fun, but it's good to know. But yeah, you can always just look up those ballistic tests and get what you need. But anything that goes bang and is moving, past 900 feet per second is probably going to do just fine. So this buffalo bore is like 700 foot-pounds of energy or something. It's crazy. It's super powerful. And I shoot out of this Tankfolio, this compact. It's 10 mil. And it's really heavy. It's like 34 ounces unloaded. So it can take the recoil. But 9 mil, like we were talking about, like, hey, well, maybe 45, maybe a 10. So this is like really high-powered 10 mil ammo. And I just like the gun. That's why I carry it. But the Cimex we were talking about earlier, they have loads that will do over 500 foot-pounds of energy with 9 mil. No joke. And some of these, like this Novex, is I think just over in the mid 400s. So you're getting significant power out of 9 mil that you don't need to, like, I don't know. You don't need artillery. That's kind of fun. But
I will say this: artillery is fun because
It is
sometimes
fun.
you just want to go shoot a really big gun. Like one of my
and sometimes
favorite
you want to both like kill the person who's trying to kill you and blind anybody else who's looking.
Exactly, because it's best if there's only one story.
So I'll throw this out because that's one of those things you're talking about, the ballistics on it. That's something me and Brandon deal with customers, and I'm sure that Junior can vouch for this too. People get hung up on something they read online, and it's like, well, how does it cycle in your gun? And they'll look at you and they go, "What do you mean?" And it's not us being hateful, but it's us trying to, different guns like different ammos, and that's why it's
Yes.
important to run it through. That's why I was asking you. Do you run to 50 rounds, 100 rounds to make sure it eats it? And people go, "It's expensive," and I understand that, but bullets are cheap. Being dead's permanent,
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good point. So with this gun, when I first shot that buffalo bore through it, it actually warped the spring. It was just smacking it so hard. So I went and got a heavier spring, and then it ran no problem. It's just when I took it apart, I was like, oh, that spring's not going to last. So I got a little heavier spring so I could, just cause. And there we go. Now it works. But I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't tested the limits of the gun. So you definitely need to go out and shoot stuff, take your gun apart, clean it, see if it still operates, and test everything through it.
So, Brandon, you remember that SIG that I called you on, the Belgian-made one, and he drilled into it and had the rail? So that customer comes to us and says, hey, I'm having feeding issues. Well, it sounds like a personal issue because it was all the he made all the ammo himself, the self-defense ammo.
Yeah. See, and that's why, again, guys, it's your life. All right, you're dead. Like Eric said, you're dead permanently. Bullets are cheap. Once you're dead, you're dead. Hey,
welcome to California.
Look at your California compliant pistola.
Abomination.
I know, right?
That's an abortion waiting to happen.
But because he is a law enforcement guy, he also has all the special licenses. He gets the good stuff. So that's what's great about having Junior out there is he is behind enemy lines trying to help people as much as possible.
If you guys are in California, be sure to look up NAG because he can definitely guide you in the right direction.
Yes. If you are anywhere in California, NAG Industries in Bakersfield, and I've made him an admin. He can do it himself. He'll put a banner up here in a second. That'll show you their website and whatnot. If you need to get anybody, any work done, actually, here's who you'll email because Joe deserves this. So
yes, he does. He deserves it so much.
See.
You just need to put a picture of his beard up. I just want to grab it and be like, yeah.
talking about ammo calibers, though, real quick and carrying, I believe each caliber has to deal with what you have to go do. So, like summertime here, where it's 100 and something, and I'm wearing board shorts, I'm carrying my 357-38 special just because it's easy to have on me. When I'm going for long trips, I'm grabbing my Glock 17. When I'm going hunting, I'm grabbing my 1911. That's a 45. I think it's just, what are we doing today?
Yeah.
Exactly.
You can't have one gun that does everything.
Everything.
You can have one gun that meets most of your needs, and that's something that people, I think they overlook that sometimes. And it's, you know, the G19 is the new standard across the world, I think, and it does everything reasonably well, but it does nothing perfect, you know?
At all. It does everything. It's a combat weapon. It is honestly the first polymer combat pistol, and it does a lot of things really, like Eric says, does a lot of things really good. But what kills me are the people that will drop $2,500 to $5,000 on a like Salient Arms or something. Dude, you can only squeeze 10% out of a Glock. More performance.
Yeah,
and
there's a wall on them.
Yeah, just like any gun. Don't take that the wrong way, anyone listening or watching. Just like my 1911 has a wall. My Taurus has a wall. Every gun in existence has its limit.
Yeah. And as you push that wall, as you get closer to the limits of the platform, you change the characteristics. And that's what Glock started a trend for really well, is they hit everything dead center. It does everything reasonably well. It does nothing amazing this way or poorly that way. It just does everything reasonable. And I think that's what you need to understand. You pick the caliber, pick the gun for the platform needs that you have.
Well, hey, gentlemen, I have to go look at new houses with my wife, so I don't want to get murdered. So I'm going off here. Like Brandon always says, stay safe, and we'll see you guys on the next show.
All right.
See you, Junior.
We'll talk to you
Tactikull
later.
Tarzan, I just want you to know your smolder is amazing.
Thanks, brother.
Later.
I'm gonna come to you next time. Let's meet up in Vegas. How about that?
Let's do it.
I like it. We're all going to have to do that.
Yeah, that's right. If we ever get to go to SHOT Show again. But that's a whole nother hot mess.
That's a whole year away. I'm sure we'll get there.
Oh yeah. But that is it. Just pick the caliber for what you're doing. And the same thing goes for capacity and things like that. You know, Junior made the perfect example. Would I carry a revolver every day? No. Do I carry a revolver in certain places? You're damn right I do, because that may be the only thing I can take in there. That is NPE, non-permissive environment, for those of you who are not, and as Smoking Trucker says, a carry-friendly gun. Because the big thing there with that is, if you buy a gun that isn't carry-friendly, you just bought a real expensive paperweight if you're not going to use it. You know, I'm not going to carry this thing. This thing's massive. It's a 5-inch barrel. It's huge. This is a home defense and a car gun. This is a carry gun.
That's why I keep my Diamondback. The Diamondback DB9. That's my gym. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go grab some groceries. I can put that little ulti-clip holster in my gym shorts, and no one even knows it exists.
No,
including me, which is great.
Yeah.
I don't want to even think about it. Because
you're at the gym, you're there to work out. But training takes over. If you got to use it, training takes over, you use it. And that's, I think, with a lot of the new gun owners we're seeing right now, they're being led astray in the calibers and in the carry of guns by certain gun shops, because they're just trying to push whatever they can get. And I understand, as a business, you got to survive. But
they're trying to sell what they have left, really.
Exactly. Yeah, there is that. If they've got anything left.
It's like, well, we got a bunch of 40. I got a Glock 23.
Right.
I remember in 2014, we saw a huge resurgence in the 40 cal, and it was because that was what you could get. There was ammo for 40, and there was 40 guns, and it was like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with 40. It's just, you know, it's kind of in between 9 and 45, and I'll take it. I don't sell guns. Oh, where can I get one? at any gun
I
shop
don't know.
right now, you know. And then it was like 2 months into the craze when 40s were still available. 2 weeks later, they were all gone. So
Yep. I mean, I can attest to that. Having been at the store, we had shelves of 9mm. We had shelves of 45. You couldn't get 40 to save your damn life. Couldn't get a 40 caliber pistol or carbine or anything. But I could get you all the 9mm 45 until finally the 40 ran out, and then they started buying whatever was left. And which, makes me wonder, 10mm, is big right now. And it's been around forever, and I prefer 10 over 40 because personally I consider 40 short and weak nowhere near as good as 10mm because, well, it's short and weak. If you're going to go full bore, go for it.
I just realized that there's comments that I can see.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Mateo said he carries the Steyr S40 with his 357 SIG conversion, and that made me jealous because I got a Steyr L9 that I wish I could get 357 SIG, just because. So one
Just
day.
because.
I love that Steyr. That Steyr is one of my favorite 9mm, honestly.
you know that the guy who designed that's also the guy who designed the Glock for Gaston. Most people don't realize
and
that's the same.
And he also designed the Caracal for what was it before the American? No, there was UAE owned it.
BB9.
Yeah,
yes,
we just saw that, and we were trying to find one because we were like, dude, if he designed it, it's gonna run like a scalded dog. It ain't gonna stop.
Classic Firearms had like 20 of them,
and
for
they
like
went
$300.
Like yes,
and I was like, I should buy one, and then I went the next day, and it was gone. I was like, I missed the boat,
dude. Being designed by him, that company, if they get the right marketing team and they can get product into the country, they'll kill Glock.
The Steyr, like the Steyr, and I'm sure you'll vouch for this too. The Steyr looks cosmetically so different. That's what killed it. But like as far as action goes, the fire control group, dude, it's awesome.
Oh yeah,
it's great.
It's like cheating shooting that gun.
Mm-hmm.
It honestly is. He got everything right.
I found this brass counterweight that you can put in the front, made by your friends over at Ranger Point Precision.
That's right. I'm installing some parts of theirs.
So I used that, and then I got stainless or like a steel guide rod, and the front is like so heavy it doesn't even move. It's great.
Yeah.
But I need to contact them because I'm like trying to get more of their guns to modify. We'll see. Special projects coming up. Maybe.
There you go.
Look what Mateo said.
Oh,
you can get the Steyr L9 barrel converted to 357 or 356 TSW, which is, it's one of those weird wildcat rounds, but I know what he's talking about.
I've never even heard of that. I'm surprised.
Oh, it's insane, dude. It's fucking crazy. They don't want monetization, but whatever. We're not monetized anyway because we do gun stuff. But I've thought about sending this bad boy in because now Roland's doing 960 Roland conversions, where you're getting 357.
With the big brain, man.
He's been following us for years. He's one of our customers. He buys a lot of stuff. He comes on the videos and gives me shit sometimes because he's a good guy that way.
357 SIG
did the new Taurus Striker TS9. Yeah, what's with the TS9? The Taurus.
It just got released in Brazil, and it is they're hoping to get it imported sometime next year. But with all this COVID crap going on, they really don't know. Because I brought that in the US. That's probably what's going to happen. Now that but here's the problem: shutdowns, man. All these damn states doing shutdowns are screwing everything up. A lot of people think that these manufacturers, like ammo manufacturers, gun manufacturers, they're just not doing it. They don't care. They're trying to drive up demand. No, they're in states that they're locked down. They can't go to work, and it's killing some of the industry right now because they can't go into work and actually do stuff.
Jeez. Well, looks like we got to start. I'm going to call Simex, start making ammo.
That's what I'm saying. Say, get on it, boys. We'll start turning out. Let's start turning out some aluminum carbon fiber stuff, I guess.
That's interesting. Yeah, the 9x21. That's a mean cartridge in itself. It can be, I guess, not always.
Yeah.
The 9x23 is another one that's nuts.
Largo. Oh man, that stuff will bust your damn eardrums, even with double ear protection. It's like a howitzer.
I don't even know what these are, man.
Close range.
If you ever get a 9x23, 9x25, those are like 38 Super, real similar to those. So
on
it's
steroids.
It's like a neck down 40 case, kind of like a 357 SIG, but think of it like a 38 Super case length, neck down with like a 357 bullet in it, moving like 2,100 feet per second. So.
Oh wow!
It's a nasty cartridge.
Yeah.
It's loud, really, really loud, and it's extremely
a lot
fast.
of competition shooters use it because it's very, very stupid accurate. It's very fast, but it does. It's if you're in enclosed range, we've got a buddy that shoots it.
It'll knock tiles out of an indoor range.
Oh yeah,
the comp will
the tiles
shoot the flames out. And it's like boom, and the stuff just sprinkles down on top of it.
It's been probably awesome. 7 or 8 years since I shot a match with Phil indoors, but it was at Bear Arms, and he brought his 9x23, and I thought I was going to die. Honestly,
they shoot like 3-foot flames out the comp and stuff like that. It is. It's 38 Super on steroids. If that tells you anything. How about that?
Mateos.
I need to start doing some more research into Gucci calibers.
It looks like you need to get on YouTube and bug Mateo and be like, "What's up with all these crazy calibers, dude?"
Yeah,
because he's got one.
We need to get a list together and just be like, "Check out these wildcats."
Oh, I know.
Actually, of course, they get the wrong hits. It'd be like people looking for chicks. They'd be like, "Why is there no hot women and it's just bullets?"
There's no cougars. This is ridiculous. Mateo coming with the serious heat.
Yeah, I think that's one of the few Tanfolio. I think it's one of the few I can think of that makes a production gun, but you can get that cartridge.
Yeah, because everything else has got to be custom made. Because what's Phil got? It's not a Tanfolio.
His is a STI.
Yeah, this is a custom-made STI.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's
uses 38 Super mags is what they used to feed them, or 40. Maybe is it 40 and 10 millimeter? Maybe it's 10 millimeter. I may be wrong on that. Maybe it's 10 millimeter.
Actually, the 9x25 is the 10 millimeter neck down.
Neck down, yeah.
9x25.
Yeah,
is
10 millimeters. Yeah.
The 9x23.
I'm super
is
ignorant to the
Largo.
competition world.
Well, and the only reason
near enough research.
If you get overseas into like the European market, you'll see some of their special ops groups will use the 9x25 because it shoots so
really?
flat. Now, yeah, it's stupid accurate. It's really flat, and you get a bunch of capacity out of it.
Interesting. That makes sense though.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't suppress
no,
at all.
You're never going to suppress that.
This is going to be another rabbit hole to go down.
Yeah.
Oh no! Like you could literally ruin your can or blow up your can because the pressure wave coming out of that thing is going to be way too much for any 9mm can you put on. Because I mean, quite honestly, some of the pressures that the 23 and 25 are at, you're kissing rifle pressure. Like you're getting real close to some low pressure rifle rounds with that round. So it would definitely not do well suppressed.
Guys, I got to check out the junior officers and the XO are paging me. So, John,
Aaron,
it's good to see you again.
Yeah, you too. We'll be in touch soon.
I'll
give you some more updates.
Sounds good, buddy. Hey, that'd be great. Holler at me. Guys, everybody watching, thanks. Have a good weekend. Stay safe.
Yeah, I was going to ask a question about SAR real quick. So, Sarsilmaz, how do we say it? How do you say it?
Sarsilmaz.
Sarsilmaz. All right. How interchange? So they have like some CZ looking clones. I hesitate to say clone, but how interchangeable are those guns with a CZ like 75?
Well, spring wise, not at all. that was one of the first things I looked at, because when we develop products, what we try to do is develop products that can be used a wide array of pistols. Because as I have said in multiple episodes now, and you hear me in the videos and everything else social media wise that I do, the firearms industry is very incestuous. There's not a new idea under the sun. It's very few and far between that we see innovation or new things that nobody's done before, or companies that aren't already just working hand in hand, but on the face of things go, we're enemies. Like, there's
Right.
one major manufacturer that produces 33% of the MIM parts for the entire gun industry. And if I said who it was, people's heads would explode if they knew their $5,000-$6,000 guns had this company's MIM parts in it. But
Is it in Korea? Can I guess?
no,
Oh,
it's
okay.
south of the border.
Interesting.
Notice I didn't say anything. If you're listening to this later, you'll just have to guess. So, and people don't believe me on that, but it is the truth. They do make yes, and that's where they match the most. Mateo is right, and that's why I need to get you some springs sent out for you to test for me, since you've got the Tangfo Witness.
Yes, I would love to.
See,
it's a
there you go.
though, so we don't want to break
doesn't
it.
matter. All the spring, yeah. No, these springs, this is the spring kit that we sell for the hammer fired guns that reduces the double action down to 6 pounds and the single down to about 2.5.
Oh, right.
So it won't be a guide rod. We haven't gotten into the guide rods quite yet. We're still testing the one for the SAR-9, because quite honestly, SAR USA has done a very good job of engineering their spring rates to their pistols very, very well on the recoil end of things. And it's kind of hard to tweak that, because they've got it dialed in so well that it's hard to increase the rate without causing issues, and we don't want to decrease the rate and beat the gun to pieces. So
yeah,
we've about got the SAR-9 dialed in, and then we've got Ross at ISMI. We work very close with ISMI Springs, have for over a decade, and Mark recently retired, and his son Ross took over, and we work very close with Ross, and they're getting into 1911 springs for different companies. So I've got them sending me stuff for SAR EAA style pistols, because they're CZ style clones and pistols, but they use a round wound 1911 style recoil spring. So we'll be able to play with some of the spring rates. I've actually got some at the shop that I need to test. I just haven't had time because it's been insane.
So I know, because like CZ mags will go into the Taurus and vice versa. And the CZ mags.
Some of
actually, I don't
them
know if the Taurus mags will work.
They might.
The Archon Type B, the Taurus 17 round mag from my G3 works in the Archon Type B. Surprise. And the Strike 1, if you take the base plate off the Strike 1 and use a standard old CZ75 magazine, it works in there. Locks back and everything. Kind of crazy. So
I'll have to play with some more of those, because we've got CZ75 mags, because as we all know, CZ Master Race for the win. We've got a lot of CZ stuff. Eric's a CZ guy, tried and true. I want the Bren 762 so bad I can taste it. But
me too. I had one of those for review, and I loved it, man. I'm like, why does anyone even like 8Ks now? But I didn't say that out loud because I'd get stabbed in the face.
That is a good.
But I really was like, yeah, why do you want to rock your magazine in, and why do you have a freaking no lockback, and why don't you have ambi controls, and why don't because that's not the way it was designed in the 40s. Yeah, I know.
Good in 1947. Rivets good in 74. Yet.
Yeah, like we'll never change it. Like, hey, look, the mag goes in like this. See how easy? No, we don't want it to be easy. Okay.
Yeah. Which this finally came in. My KS47 that we've been talking about our budget builds we're gonna do. This thing is no longer gonna be. I'm going stupid on this, but what I want to do is I've been talking to one of the techs at Palmetto State, and they only guarantee that the K2 or the KS47 Gen 2 upper will work on this. And I'm like, I don't care about guarantees. I'm going to get a beast. This is what I do for a living. I modify stuff. And he's like, no, we've changed it. And so I went and looked at the website, and they did. They actually added some prongs to the inside of the upper so that when you lock your mag in, it's more positive. And so what I'm going to have to do is buy a PSA upper, and we'll have to mill the side of it and mill the bolt to add a charging handle, because I wanted to do a Bear Creek Arsenal upper side charger.
Cool.
And do a full on, and then eventually get an Adams Arms piston kit with the 7.62 by 39 and just run a stupid AK AR beyond dumb hybrid. But alas, nothing is in stock anywhere. So, because I would rather than buy the upper hole, I've already got a barrel and everything picked out. So I'm trying to keep the whole build well under 600, and right now I can do that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no kidding. I mean, Mateo's right there, but the thing of it is, it's all about mass production. When did they start importing? The no safety model started coming in this year. There were a couple of them last year that came through, but it was very limited quantity. And right now, a majority of what's coming into the country on the SAR-9s will be the safety list model.
That's cool. I could care less, man.
Well, and that's what the safety blade's for. You have to want it. I think John might have dumped out on us there for a second, guys. So I guess
Tarzan.
There we go. I was going to get up and start dancing for the folks. I think, John, you there? Here, we'll try this. Bring him back in real quick because nobody wants to see just me by myself. You with us, Tarzan? I can hear him. Everybody right now is like, this was awesome until you ruined everything, Brandon. It looks like his internet dropped. So, we'll give him a couple minutes, see what's up. No, and and Mateo makes a perfect point. There's really no point to own a striker fire with an external safety because you're just adding extra steps. When I carry the G3C, I don't bother carrying it. I'm not ninja rolling. I'm not jumping up and down. I'm not trying to jump out of superhero stuff, windows, and land on my knee and all that. That is more than enough. A passive safety is exactly what it's called. That would be pretty trick. Have a 6.5. Oh man, that'd be sweet. See, that's just it. You guys don't help because you guys give me ideas to sit here and go, what should I do that's crazy and insane? We've got this KS47 lower. Let's do an upper and then add an Adams Arms kit that doesn't even work with it, but we'll make it work. That's where we end up. That's what's going to end up happening. I think we might have lost Tactikull Tarzan for the evening, so we've gone about 24 minutes over tonight, guys. Sorry we got started late. As my reminder popped up in the middle of everything, everybody make sure that He's texting me. He says, sorry, everybody. I told him no worries. We'll pick up on another episode. I greatly appreciate everybody coming and joining us tonight. Thank you all for joining, listening to our opinions and our rants and us just being insane. Actually, that's one of the things we're working on, Mateo, is because I'm with you. Non-safety model, no reason for it. We're working on a delete. So it's just a matter of figuring out how we can get away with it without interfering with the way the weapon works. But oh, well, that's no fun. AK files, bunch of jerks. Anyway, for those listening to my just by myself ranting now towards the end, Mateo's talking about how 6.5 Grendel's already been done. But now I want to do it with a piston Adams Arms kit. But thank you all for joining us. We do what we do because of you guys, professionally and on the podcast for fun. You guys, the community, drive everything we do in the aftermarket. Please keep giving us good ideas, driving us in the right direction, telling us what you want, because we try to go where the market dictates. So thank you all who join us. If you're live with us right now on Facebook or YouTube, make sure you go down and subscribe or like us on Facebook. If you're listening to the podcast after the fact, you can find us at GallowayPrecision.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube under Galloway Precision. Take my money now. Once we get it done, give us some time. We got to get everything right. But from the bottom of our hearts, I know everybody's had to go off and do stuff, but we honestly appreciate you guys more than you know. And thank you for believing in what we do. Thank you for coming by and listening to us. Thank you for believing in what we do. And thank you for believing in the Second Amendment. Make sure you get out there and do what's right. Stand up for your rights. And as always, be safe, be accurate, and God bless.